Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, and I finally had a chance to play Sabacc. Not because I moved to a galaxy far, far away, but because I got a sponsored opportunity to play Sabacc on Android. I could also have played it on iOS, but we used Android specifically because it was easier to network together at the time that I was able to play it with other Star Wars fanatics. The other Star Wars fanatics, by the way, happen to be people who do the video game thing on a regular basis. Not to say that Sabacc is a video game, because it isn't. It's just really, for the first time in my entire life, I had a chance to play Sabacc, the card game, the infamous, if not famous. No, infamous. Infamous is more than famous, right? Infamous, the infamous? I think that's correct. Maybe I need to watch The Three Amigos again. I'm old. I'm old enough to remember that Han Solo won the Millennium Falcon from Lando Calrissian in a game of Sabacc. Sabacc, the same game that you saw Lando Calrissian play with Zeb in Rebels. And if you're not watching Star Wars Rebels, the cartoon series, I can tell you this. My 2-year-old daughter is up to date. She really doesn't know what's going on, but she loves Sabine and Chopper and Ezra and Hera and Zeb. Kanan as well. She's getting to know the other characters. She loves Lando, not because of The Empire Strikes Back, but because of Rebels. She likes that episode. I don't know why. It could be because she's interested in Sabacc. So back to the game. You can play it. It's a card game. It's not like poker. It's not like blackjack. There are numbers involved and cards and chips, virtual chips, of course. You can download the app right now. You can participate, start doing multiplayer gaming with other people who want to play Sabacc at the same time. And honestly, if you did not want to play Sabacc at this point, I feel, and this is really just what I've been thinking, when they eventually release the Han Solo Star Wars story, the standalone movie, much like Rogue One is a standalone movie, non-episodic, when they release the Han Solo movie, I have a feeling that Han is going to be playing Sabacc, and more people are going to want to learn how to play Sabacc. So you can learn right now. It's not too challenging. Now you're talking to someone who isn't a player of games, table games, card games, video games. I'm a casual player, and that much was apparent. I didn't really have a strategy going into it apart from betting big, because the only way to win big is to bet big, right? So I was just kind of feeling my way around, and it was fun, right? Even though I was familiar somewhat with the rules, watching the tutorials online, this video obviously is not a tutorial, it's just me sharing my experiences and perspectives, and excitement, really, for finally being able to play Sabacc with other players, other Star Wars fans. It's a different deck of cards. You're not going to get the traditional earthly deck of cards. It is from a galaxy far, far away. You can zoom in on the cards to see them up close, especially before you take your turn. And even if you make a few mistakes, and you probably will, unless you're perfect, of course. Yeah, I know, I'm telling them about Sabacc right, Jedi, exactly. This is what I'm saying. I'm telling them right now what I would love to do, because I cannot wait to play Sabacc with you. Unfortunately, I think you may be entirely too young at 2 years old. If you just give me a few more years, I would be happy to be able to teach you how to play Sabacc, because if you don't play Sabacc with me, I don't know who else will apart from people online. So you out there listening to me right now need to figure out how to play Sabacc, and the easiest way to do it is not running out to the store and getting a deck of Sabacc cards, because quite honestly, I've never seen them. Now, it's possible that fans have made them. That is entirely possible, but to my knowledge, this is the only easy, readily accessible way of playing Sabacc with your 2-year-old daughter, or, you know, a 2-year-old who is somehow connected to the game on the other side of the planet, or the galaxy, or somewhere in between. Gameplay was pretty simple. It was straightforward. After a few rounds, I kind of got into the groove. In fact, I had a Sabacc. At one time, I had 23 because my cards added up to 23. And then there was a shift. And so I lost my Sabacc. I almost got the Sabacc pot, which is different from the kitty or whatever the terminology is in Sabacc. I'm not a master. I'm not a Sabacc master. And if you see me play, you will quickly understand that. I I don't hold my cards terribly close to the chest, but you know, it's all in fun, right? It's just for fun. If I was playing for real stuff, I'd probably be a lot more serious about Sabacc, even though it was a terrible amount of fun. And I don't mean terrible in a bad way. I mean, it was just amazing. It was great. So I had all sorts of fun at one point because we got in at the 1,000 table stakes game. At one point I had over 1,000 credits in my pot. No, in my stash, in my pile, my virtual pile. Obviously, I know what the hell I'm talking about. I did play Sabacc though. So I had over 1,000. So I was actually, above and beyond. But then I lost it all because I'm really aggressive when it comes to betting, especially when I don't really know what's going on, right? I'm like, well, either I'm going to lose big or I'm going to win big, and that's kind of what I was thinking. You might remember if you saw the vlog when we mentioned it, I was invited to a neighbor's poker game, and it was really my first time sitting down and playing poker with other people. And the second game in, I ended up winning a huge amount and actually came out. It was for real money. I put $20 in and I walked away with, gosh, did I walk away with 50, 60? No, $75. So I won about $50 in my first game of poker. And I took it seriously. I was like, okay, this is a good hand. This is not a good hand. I knew enough just to be dangerous, which is the story of my life, quite honestly. There's really no way of cheating in this game, unlike what Han Solo may have done, according to Lando, in the game of Sabacc that lost Lando the Millennium Falcon. See, I really do hope, I really genuinely do hope that happens in Han Solo, the movie, the Star Wars story movie that I don't think has entered production yet, if only because I would like to see more done with the game of Sabacc. I would like to play it on a regular basis because it's a Star Wars game that's specifically set inside a completely different universe, something that just makes me feel more connected with that fandom, especially with other people. I would like to see more of that happening, and instead of waiting for it to happen, you can make it happen now. This game pretty much adheres to every single rule that there is with the game of Sabacc. And even if you've never played before, if you enjoy card games, table games, networked games, maybe you don't want to play with other people directly, you can have or enter into a single player mode. There are different ways to earn credits. Of course, you could buy credits. It's available cross-platform, and for all intents and purposes, these days, cross-platform basically means either iOS or Android. Works just fine. I had a lot of fun, and just knowing that in a few rounds, as much as I could have played it more carefully, and I knew that if I exposed myself to the game on a more frequent basis, I could become a better player. There wasn't a high challenge, or I guess a bar that I felt was so overwhelming I would never make it. And honestly, I will give you a comparison because if it's a game, I may not be interested outright. I'm into casual games. Card games are kind of in that category, but the card games I've liked to play in the past, I've liked or have enjoyed Hearts, Solitaire, but only Golf as the layout. I think that was the layout of Solitaire that I enjoyed the most. Spades, but you've got to have a really good partner for that game, like a really good partner. But yeah, I never really got into poker or blackjack. Sabacc is kind of somewhere in the middle. Take some mathematics, take some skill, but not ever making me feel like I did with Star Wars Battlefront, the new one that you play that was released last year, and always shows me just how much I suck at video games. It was the opposite of that in just about every way. It's more of a strategy, right? A card game. And even if I was matched with someone who, was far more skilled than I was, I could still win. A matter of luck. It's a matter of what happens during the course of the game. So you could play with a master and still walk away ahead or win. And that's something that I really enjoy as someone who enjoys playing Star Wars games, not because they're games, but because it's Star Wars. And they happen to be games. Like, people have asked, well, Chris, why don't you play this video game? Star Wars involved? No. Well, then I'm not interested. Sorry. I pick up Battlefront every so often, not as often as I'd like to, but I'm much more inclined to play a game of Star Wars pinball or a Sabacc now, just because I feel like I've got a fighting chance. And even though I get matched with other online players that allegedly match my skill set, I always get my clock cleaned. So it's like I'm getting worse and worse and worse in games like Battlefront, and it seems that I could get better and better and better in games like Sabacc, specifically the way that this particular app works. As I pointed out at the beginning of this particular video, this was really something that I wouldn't have been able to do if the app wasn't available, and I'm very grateful for having a chance to do this in a sponsored capacity. It's something that I'm going to be playing on a regular basis, so I may see you at the table, and then you can walk away bragging that you beat me, which, trust me, is not much to brag about, because honestly, if I was to play this game with Jedi, Sabacc, a card game with Jedi, and give her a controller, she could beat me. And she doesn't know what she's doing. She's just tapping around randomly, which quite honestly is exactly what I was doing too. But you know what? I was winning for a little while until I lost it all. But you know what? If you can't have fun with it, what's the point? And if it's not Star Wars, well, again, what's the point? Yeah, okay. I've said everything I needed to say now. I love you. I appreciate you. But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the Force be with you.